So how do you select a pitch? If you're playing a test match, this is the basic pitch selection chart. You can see it's a 2 to 12. You roll your 2 dice, you'll get the number, and then you'll read it. Here's 3. Distinctly a green topper with the possibility that it will favour the bowler throughout the match. So what a pitch count is when you first start, you roll 1 dice and you get 4. That's your pitch count. At each session, you would roll another one. So at the lunch break, you'd roll again, and 1 plus 4 is 5. At tea break, you'd roll again. It's 6 now. Once it gets to 16, the first pitch card that is selected changes to the next one. So as you go over a test match, you have 3 rolls every day to add to it. So that's going to be, it's going to get you down here in the pitch conditions. Now, if we have a look at some of these cards, and I'll just grab them out. Should have done that beforehand, but. So the first card that we got here is a card 6. So let's go have a look at card 6. And basically, the pitch is starting as a green wicket. See, 0 to 15 pitch points is a green wicket. Once we get to 16 to 30, we then have a card 4. Now, a card 4 is just a normal wicket. So some of that grass is burned off, and the wicket is now just playing normally. So it's going to be better for batting. At the top, the fast bowlers are going to get a little bit of advantage with that green wicket. Now, obviously, depending on how quickly you roll those 16 points, depends how long that green wicket will stay around. So it could be around all day into the second day. Or if you roll really high, by the end of the day, it might be on pitch 4, but most likely that's going into day 2. Now, when you have rolled 31 to 50 points, it's card 8. So we've gone from a green wicket to a normal wicket. And now let's go across to card 8 and let's see what that does. Now it's starting to take spin. So you've started with a green wicket favouring the fast bowlers, a normal wicket, probably pretty good for batting, not much help for the bowlers, but not terrible. And then the spin bowlers come into play on card number 8. And then if you roll over 51 points, and you may not, it may stop there at 8, you go to number 10. And number 10, just try and find that one, is the worst pitch possible. It's the wicket breaking up. And every single bowler is favoured on that unless they're bowling full tosses or long hops. So if you bat here, you have to be a little bit defensive because the bowlers will have a bit of an advantage. Then it'll be pretty even, pretty good for batting. The spin bowlers will then take over later on, and then the wicket will break up. So by looking at that, you can see how over a test match, the pitch changes quite a lot. So let's roll another one. We see if we can get another sort of. So that's an 8. A very carefully prepared batsman's paradise. There is no reason to suspect the bowler will have anything but a long and tiring match. Okay, so this one is a pitch that you know straight away in a test match. That could be a draw pitch. Like there may not be a result on that. And we've got cards 2, 4 and 9. So we know that 4 is a normal pitch. What have we got for card number 2? So card number 2 is a good batting wicket to start with. So there's going to be a lot of runs. And basically the bowler's negative modifiers on their card are going to be ignored or reduced by 1, except if these deliveries come up on the 3rd dice roll. Then you have a normal batting wicket, and then card 9. Now once you get to card 9, it'll start to break up a little bit. There'll be a little bit of damage on the wicket, but will you get there in time? That's the whole thing. So where was it? 8. So that's 61 points plus. You may not get to that card 9, so it might be a batter's paradise throughout the whole match. And that would match up with what this says. It's a batsman's paradise. So you can see how there is different pitch conditions. The first one we had gave help to the bowlers at the start. It evened out, and then it gave help to the spin bowlers and then broke up at the end. This one here is a batsman's paradise with a very small chance that the wicket will break up at the end, but it's probably going to be a draw. Now, that's a test match on the basic charts. On the basic one-day chart, you basically roll for the weather, and we've got a 45 over here. A 45 is a 2 weather, which down here is hot and sunny. And then we cross-reference, we roll another die, so we've got a 2 there, and a 1, and we've got pitch number 1. So you've got a hot and sunny day with pitch number 1, and pitch number 1 is obviously going to be a fairly good wicket. It's a good batting wicket in a one-dayer, so there's going to be plenty of runs there. That's how you select a one-day pitch. So roll for the weather first, cross-reference the weather number by there and get the pitch number. And that'll tell you what the weather is like. Now, where the game gets really, really good is what we call the worldwide weather charts. And this is not with the basic game. You have to get this, and it's separate. And I showed you a little bit of that just before. On the one-day chart, you know how we rolled for the weather, and we rolled, and we do the exactly same thing, but we have a different chart for every country. So we've got Australia, we've got Bangladesh here. So it will have the weather for that country a little bit more to what it actually is, and the pitch type for that country will also be used. So this is not using the individual grounds pitch conditions, but this is kind of saying in Australia, these are the kind of pitch conditions that come up the most in one-day international cricket. If you're using some of the homebrew 2020 rules that are out there, you would probably use this as well. But you can see like England, India, New Zealand, Pakistan, South Africa, Sri Lanka, Sharjah in the UAE, West Indies, and Zimbabwe. So you've got plenty of pitch conditions there for one-day cricket. So you play one-day cricket, there'll be plenty of variety in the pitch types, which should give you plenty of different looks at one-day cricket and how to play the game and how games can sort of pan out. Now, I briefly showed you the worldwide weather charts. We had 1988 to 1998, and this one was 1999 to 2005. Okay, now the weather obviously needs to be rolled, and for each country you've got 2 to 12 for the weather. But this time it's not cross-reference, it's just you've got the weather. Now let's look at the pitch type. Okay, so we talked about Adelaide before in the last video. So why don't we roll, first of all, for the weather. And we've got a 7 for Australia as a 2, which I believe is a hot and sunny. Or it's quite a sunny type weather, which is good. Now, through a test match, the weather you'll check every night, and it may change the next day. I'll just briefly show you that actually. So say we had a 2 there. There's a 2 weather. Now, end of the day 1, starting day 2, we roll again. We got a 6 this time. So 2 and 6, it still remains 2 weather. So what about the third day? We got an 8. This time it's gone to a 3 weather. The fourth day, 10. This time we're looking at a 3. 10, we've got a 5 weather. So there might be a few showers involved. And for the last day, 3, it's back to a pretty good. So if this was a test match being played, that would be quite a good test match. There wouldn't be hardly any, if at all, any rain delays. That's how sort of the weather forecast works. But we're in Adelaide, it's good weather. Let's roll for a pitch type. 9. And it's got pitch number 34. Okay, so when we use the worldwide wicket types or the worldwide weather charts, there is a separate booklet called the Worldwide Weather Charts, and this is just a PDF, so it's a bit of a bad cut job, but basically you saw it when we had our pitch before, how we had a description for the test match. This goes into more detail, and I'll just quickly get out number 34 and we'll go from there. Now you can see from here, sorry for the shaking camera, that there are a lot of different pitch types. Now we got 34 here, but just a quick glance down here and you can see there's over 100 different types of pitch descriptions. Let's go through and we'll see how many there actually is. Okay, so basically it looks like there's 129 different pitch descriptions. So you had 2 to 12 on the basic charts. We have 129 different pitch descriptions. And again, these pitch descriptions bring in all the pitch cards as well that have the A, B, C next to them as well. So a lot of different pitch types. If you start playing the game, or you've got the game and you really like it and you want a little bit more variety in the wickets, to sort of show, hey, this is what a pitch is in Adelaide, Australia. This is what a pitch is in Trentbridge. Why don't we go to India and Eden Gardens? This is what the pitch will be like. You know, if we go to South Africa and we got Newlands and Cape Town. And I think there's might be some other ones I had there as well. I did have some spares somewhere. Don't know where they've gone. Oh, here it is. And here's some additional ones as well. A lot of Bangladesh stadiums. We've got Malahide in Ireland. We've got Canberra in Australia. Got some more in New Zealand. We've got a couple more in the UAE. So we've got all these new stadiums as well since the time the worldwide cricket, the worldwide weather charts came out. So there's plenty of variety depending on where you're playing. But back to 34, I guess. And this is Adelaide, and at the start of the test match, the pitch is brown and solid under the heel. This pitch gets little hope for the bowlers in the early stages. However, there may be a little help for the spinners on the final day. So batting last should be avoided if possible. So at the start, there's help for the bowlers. So you might think about bowling first, but you don't want to bat last, which you would be if you bowled first. So you're probably going to bat first and then bowl last and have your spinners hopefully spin out the other side. But it gives you a description of the match. You get that description of the match, then you probably select your final 11, because maybe you think, oh, I want to put an extra spinner in, or I want to shore up the batting or whatever. You have a look at the description, you see exactly what's happened. Now, what is this little reference 125 here? So we basically take that 34, we write it on our scorecard so we know what it is, and then we go to reference 125. So we then go all the way to the end of our Worldwide Weather Chart book. And we can see here, we've got all these references, and this is going to tell us what pitch we select. So 125. So pitch count 0 to 25 would be a pretty good batting wicket at 2. Okay? And then once you get to 26, we then have to look at 466, or reference 466. So you see that? 125 is what our description took us to. It tells us how many pitch points that is going to be for the pitch selected here, the pitch number 2. And then when that's over, and we're past that, at 26 we go to 466. So now let's go over the page to, over 3 pages to 466. 466 would then go pitch count 26 to 45 is pitch number 3. So that becomes an average pitch. So this is a pretty good batting wicket. Probably through day 3 into day 4. But after you get past 45 pitch points and you get 46 plus, we need to go to description 289. a couple of pages. And 289 says pitch count 46 to 55 equals 7B. Now this is starting to get more into where the bowlers are starting to get into it. So what's a 7B? The ball is starting to keep low because the pitch is a bit lower. So you see that? And then, I think it was that one, wasn't it? And then if you get past 55, 56 plus, you go to pitch count 180. So you can see how the pitch conditions are changing quite a lot. I'm going to try and find 180 here. It's a bit folded. And basically this one says 56 plus. So for the rest of the match, it's going to be an 8A. And I'll see if I can find an 8A over here quickly. Or not quickly. Probably not quickly. There it is. And basically that ball keeping low has then started to give help for the spinners for the rest of the match. So you saw there from the Adelaide pitch, from the description that we had, it gave us a pitch number. It gave us a description so we know this is how the pitch is probably going to play, but we don't know how quickly that pitch is going to deteriorate. And by going through all the different cards there, you would then be able to see which pitch would come into play later on. Now, generally you're not going to do that. You're going to roll for the first one, get the first pitch, keep in mind that, hey, this is how the pitch is going to play. And then you might get there quicker than in other times. But then the rest of the game, you're trying to make decisions from what you know of the pitch at the beginning. And then once you do get to the next pitch, you look at it and see, this is the ball keeping is low now. And then you get past that 55 to 56 pitch points. Okay, so now it's helping the spinners out. So you see how the pitch conditions change. This brings a huge amount of depth to the game, especially if you're playing series and you want to really look at, hey, how does this play? But we're playing a series in South Africa, but Cape Town plays differently to Durban, which plays differently to Johannesburg, which plays differently to Port Elizabeth, which plays differently to Pretoria. But hey, if we're touring the India or Sri Lanka or Pakistan or Bangladesh, which is on that other chart, I believe, you will have pitches that are more likely to be spinning pitches. So if you play, say, in Perth, Australia, these will be pitches that are well suited to fast bowlers. Sydney, some of the older ones will probably be suited more to spinning. So different pitches will have different conditions, and they will suit different types of bowlers generally. And different countries will be the same as well. It adds a whole lot of flavour to the game. And if you get the basic game and you're enjoying it, I would definitely recommend getting these worldwide weather charts because it just adds so much more to the gameplay. Any questions, let me know. Hopefully I've covered that all right. But if not, let me know.